All right, everybody, I got the man, the myth, the legend, Eric Lambert. So Eric is going to talk to us today about what he's been doing on Zillow. We're going to get into some of the scripts that he has for setting appointments and objection handling. And this guy is one of the best script ninjas on converting buyer leads. So I'm super thrilled. But Eric, quickly, who are you, where are you from, and kind of give us a quick little background so we understand kind of what you're up to.
Yeah, so of course, Eric Lambert. I'm from North Orange County, California. I live in Brea, and a little bit about my numbers for the year is to go back before coaching, was at 16 deals the year prior, and then first year coaching, we bumped that up to 24, and the next year it was 27. Last year was 45 deals. And then, yeah, this year we'll probably end up at about 50, even with everything going on.
Boom, baby. Yeah. And what's been super exciting is to see this progress, what you guys have been able to accomplish, right? And so you adopted, we had some strong conversations. For guys, for context, Eric and his mom were killing it at open houses. And I started to realize, wow, they had a great buyer consultation and they were closing deals with buyers right out of open houses. And Eric said to me one day, he said, hey, I did an open house this weekend, met this guy, he had an agent, put him into a buyer consultation, put him under contract on Friday. From Sunday to Friday, a buyer under contract. I was like, man, This guy's got some skill. So with that said, I said, let's test out Zillow and let's see what we can accomplish with Zillow. So Eric, could you give us a little debrief of first year on Zillow and where we're at right now with Zillow?
Yeah, so first year in Zillow was, so technically it's, August 2018 to August 2019 was the first complete year. And it was super scary because, just like with coaching, like I can't stand spending money because I'm like the cheapest dude on the planet. But so with Zillow, we started at, what they recommended was $1,000 a month for my market, and at $1,000. And of course, I'm splitting this with a lender who I had kind of proven myself with. So he was willing to share this with me, which kind of, lessened the blow. But that resulted, the first year was 89 connections, right? The total spend for the year was 16.5 technically, because we ended up doing 9 months at $1,000. And once it was like, hey, this is actually making money, the last 3 months, we just bumped it up to $2,500.
Right.
But 89 connections resulted in 9 closings, so 10% conversion. And out of spending 16.5, that grossed us 115,650.
Yeah. And so that's a perfect 10x return on investment in that first year. And just for context, everybody, when we're on a coaching session and I said to Eric, hey, it's 90 days in on Zillow, how's it going? And he was like, I hate this, it's so stupid, we were going to cancel it, we're going to call tomorrow. And, and we worked through that. And then towards the end of the year, we went from 1,000 to 2,500. And then where are you guys at now, total spent? Where are you at now?
So the 2020 numbers year to date, we're still at $2,500 a month. We just literally bumped it up to $3,500 a month. So it's like, we'll see how that works out. But so far for the year, over the past 4 months, we've had 48 connections year to date, and we already have 9 closed and pending. So that's about an 18% conversion. And pending and closed year to date is already, basically $136,000 out of only a $10,000 spend, which is 27x.
Boom, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think everybody's going to get it. I think it's important for people to understand the journey, to understand the numbers. And along the way, again, you guys, you'll see in a minute, his skill with a buyer is so good that it made sense for us after we were making money to then invest more. After we made more money, invest more. And so all the people who kind of jump in and put too much money don't have the skill down. And then they're like, after 90 days, I hated this sucked. Well, was that your fault or their fault? And so it's important that you guys understand the journey that, Eric's very conservative and we took this step by step.
Yeah.
So Eric, let's jump into some skills because that's what everybody wants to know. And congratulations, you're killing it. So it's super fun to watch. So
Yeah.
let's jump into some phone skill stuff, right? So, what would you say is like the most important kind of objection handler or principle in the scripting that you're using right now? It's working. Let's kind of hear what the script is.
So, I mean, the basic script is like when somebody calls in, I mean, it's essentially like someone random just walked into your house, only it's ringing your phone, right?
Mm-hmm.
So someone came into your open house, phone rings, and it's the same exact open house script, but over the phone. So, they just want us to go see this house. I say, great, when's the soonest you can go check it out, and I'll schedule that appointment. And they always give me a date, and now they're like already on, hey, I'm going to go see this house. So I'm like, hey, I just like to run down this few, quick list of questions. Do you already have a lender, or do you need one kind of like recommended to you? And answer that. So I'm assuming you're pre-approved. And then of course, since you're calling us on Zillow, I'm going to be working under the assumption that you don't have a realtor. And usually they say like, yeah, you're correct. Yeah, I don't have a realtor. Or they might, catch me right there and say like, actually, I do have a realtor. Is that going to be a problem? And I say, yeah, that's no problem. I mean, like, if you don't mind, I was like, we do like to compare apples to apples. And if that realtor you're using isn't your mom or your cousin, I would love to compare our stats to theirs if that realtor hasn't already shown you like all their sales history and kind of like the proven steps, the buy to sell ratio, things like that. And just, compare them. That way you can make the best choice for yourself, right? Because you would do this with plumbers, with doctors, with lawyers. You would just compare, right? And especially when it's free, it's a lot easier to do it. And you might as well just go work with the best one that fits your needs, right?
Exactly. Boom. Right. Boom. Okay, good. So that's great. Thanks for that little intro, that main objection. How do you set the buyer consultation appointment? Because I've been so impressed with how good you have been with getting buyer consultations either out of the open house or even off the Zillow calls. So take us through quickly, kind of what is your script to get them into a buyer consultation?
Well, I mean, I just basically straight up ask them, while I'm on the phone with them, have you ever had a buyer, I say, have you had your buyer consultation yet?
Right.
And 1000% of the time they say, no, what the heck is that? And I was like, it's just a little meet and greet. We usually meet, 30 minutes prior to go looking at the first house. It's, bang it out real quick, but, we would meet, I would go over the whole entire buying process, help set your expectations, teach you everything, how to look at a house, what are the next steps, what do I do when I make an offer, what are the steps while we're in escrow. And then that way, by the end of the 30 minutes, you hopefully know just as much as I do about the whole process. That way we can go into it together. And when we're looking at a house, all we have to do is make eye contact, and this is going to be the house for you.
Nice.
Right.
Love it.
Yeah.
Perfect. It's a great script. And your success ratio is amazing, right? So let's jump over into the, on the buyer consultation, right? There's a few things that you say that and some insights that you've shared that I was like, wow, those are really good, right? So, we're on the buyer consultation. What are some of what's the one, the outcome one? Let's share the screen and take us through that little process that you do, because I love that one.
Cool. Oh, it's blocking me.
It's all good. There it is.
Oh. Yeah. So this, I mean, we have it's about a 15 page slideshow that we've kind of put on the TV and talk about, and they're all just different steps of what the process is to expect. And we give them a form to fill out. And on that form at the bottom, it's kind of like, pretend you're driving down the street. What does your dream home look like? And then at the bottom of that, it has, what are your 3 reasons for buying a house? And I have, typically it's a couple. And I just say, without talking to your partner, you pick 3 and you pick 3 of why you want to do this. And so, some people, they pick the obvious. It's going to be, value, comfort, safety. Some people pick convenience because it's like, hey, I want to buy a house, but, can't be 20 minutes from my work. No matter what they pick, I always point out that although they didn't realize it, most of what they're doing is also for my favorite, which is the self-actualization. And when I'm doing this buyer consultation, I speak a lot in analogies and metaphors, because I think that's kind of like the easiest thing for someone to understand when you're using all this like lingo and jargon, and it can be extremely boring, depending on how you present.
Yep.
So one of my favorite metaphors for that is, when you're buying a house, 50% of the time it's going to be self-actualization. And they're like, well, what's that? And I was like, you got that thing that you can finally talk about, at your high school reunion. It's kind of why most of us do anything. Why did you go buy that nice shirt? Well, it's because I want someone to see me in the nice shirt. I want to be able to talk about my watch, right? It's why we all buy, a new iPhone every 6 months or whatever,
Yep. I love it. Yeah, it's really it's touching in on that, the bragging rights, right? And it's interesting you bring that up, because it reminds me of one of the most famous marketers. I watched one of his presentations, and he actually said that real estate is very irrational, right? And it's true. Like, I want to have, like, when they're like, oh, I don't think, like, I was talking to a buyer the other day, Eric, and the buyer was like, I just feel too embarrassed to buy this price point that I can buy in. So he would rather continue to rent because he's too embarrassed to buy at that price point because of the perception of his family. This is not logical. This is super irrational.
Yep.
So I love that you hit that point. So is there anything else to share in your presentation, or your favorite things that you do on the buyer consultation?
I mean, I probably can bring up some more slides, but the main thing is just—
What's your favorites?
Really, let me see. It'll probably take too long to actually for me to bring that up.
X out of the share, and we can let's wrap up with some of, anything else that you do on the buyer consultation.
Yeah.
Really kind of works.
Yeah. I mean, one of the main points I like to hit is kind of nailing down someone's time frame. And, I tell them when they work with me to expect to be in your home a lot quicker than you think. Because if you just ask somebody at an open house or on a Zillow call, when do you want to be in your home? And as a defense mechanism, they will typically say, it doesn't really matter. It's just like, I'm taking my time, looking for the right one. I'm like, okay, so that's totally cool. If you're there, by Thanksgiving, they're like, well, actually, we're really known for like our 4th of July barbecues. So we kind of want to, I'm like, okay, yeah, duh. And so no matter what, I mean, if I start working with them on Halloween, I'm like, just so you know, you're definitely going to have Christmas here. Right. And because sometimes it's as easy as have the buyer consultation on Sunday and they're in escrow on Wednesday. I mean, that happens all the time. And now, I mean, you can probably go through my Zillow reviews. Some people have even made that comment that like, hey, like when you work with Eric, he's kind of like the fast forward guy,
Yeah, no, so thank you for sharing that, because guys, it's unbelievable what Eric's like, the speed at which you're taking people from I want to see a property, I'm showing up to an open house, to putting them under contract is incredibly impressive to me. And I can tell between some of the things that you're doing in your consultation, it's not because you're a pushy salesperson, it's because you're helping them to come to a conclusion where they trust you, they trust the process, and they feel comfortable to take that big action step. And so, this analogy of the time frame thing, setting some of that expectation, the self-actualization, that stuff is amazing, dude. Is there anything else? Because we're getting some good nuggets out of this. So is there anything else that you're doing that's kind of a good analogy story that kind of makes the difference?
Well, I mean, it would really—
How do you get the exclusivity for them to work with you? Do you ask?
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah. So I'm actually kind of noticing it's kind of rare.
Very rare.
To ask someone to sign a buyer broker agreement, but after the buyer, I mean, and I bring it out first, right? I'm like, hey, just so you know, at the end of all this, if you decide to work with me, you'll have to work with this. If you don't want to work with me, hey, no hard feelings. At least you got some free chips and a great, and now you know everything, and now you can just go out there and be your own realtor, right? But I mean, I probably have like a 95% success rate with that. And I just don't, it's a mutual, it's a written handshake. if you don't want to work with me, just text me at 11 o'clock at night. I'll give you the only copy. Hey, it's more like a trust thing, right? But I just told him I can't take on any more than 4 buyers at a time. And just to be respectful of your time and my time, this is just kind of, and I put it all in writing, you know, and the buyer broker agreement I use, it was, I clarify in here, like I have no retainer. I'm 100% free. I even put in there that, hey, this is, and some people find this uncomfortable, realtors and customers alike, but I'll put in there, hey, this is also what I stand to make based on your purchase price. And I want full disclosure with you and transparency, because I never want you to think that I'm going to push you into any certain house because you're like, oh, Eric, he's, you know, commission only job, right? He wants to hurry up and get me in there. I'm getting you in there because you need to be there for Christmas. That's about it. And that's why I put in my, hey, this is what I stand to make. This is how I'm free. And, you know, this is the time frame and all that stuff. And most people really like that. And because I asked him, I was like, hey, did your other realtor tell you how much he's going to make off you? You know, and he didn't even get you a birthday card. You know, come on. All right.
I love it. No, yeah, it's some great scripting, great principles, great philosophy that you have in some of these conversations. So I love that. And gosh, is there anything else? I think we should shut it down right now. We'll do this again, okay? Because I'm sure a lot of people will get a lot of value out of it, and they're probably going to want to have to watch this a little and write some of these little nuggets down. And then, Eric, how can they find you? You know, are you on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram? Where can they find you?
So Instagram is Eric_realtor_Lambert. Of course, Facebook is just Eric Lambert of the Lambert team. And, you know, find me on Zillow, and then also just, you know, give me a fist bump at the next summit, I guess.
Exactly, right? We've got the Success Summit coming up in August, hopefully, right? COVID.
Yeah.
Okay.
And actually, Patrick, if you don't mind me throwing in there,
Yes.
It was actually in the beginning, you know, like when, you know, you became our coach, I think what, you know, kind of activated all the Zillow thing, like it took a while to like stomach it, but I think it's when you noticed all we did was kind of open houses, like even if they weren't even our own open houses, like all we just did was open houses. But I think you really took notice, and it's like, hey, we convert buyers at a high rate. We spend absolutely no money on marketing. So like we have like no tax write-off. But it's like, this is a no-brainer. It's like you can convert, you're not spending any money on your business. Like, and what does that equal, right? So I mean, yeah, I mean, I appreciate, you know, you and my mom pressuring me to get into this, because it's 27X is pretty sweet.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And it's fun, you know, going from 100 grand, you know, into, you know, our goal with you is to get you guys to $1 million. And the next transition is really the assistant piece, which of course is another big financial investment, big scary one. So we are working through that, you guys. And you can look forward to seeing Eric talking about how he trialed and errored through the assistant to get to $1 million in our next conversation. So it's going to be exciting. I mean, no, I appreciate your scripting is unbelievable. Everybody, make sure you find Eric online, social, say hi, and appreciate everything he's done. And then let's connect later. Thanks, Eric, so much.
All right, later, dude.